suppose, given all that history, does it make sense that a black man could represent American values if American values don't properly respect the African American community, and never have and may never will? Like Steve Rogers, that's obvious. He's Steve Rogers. He's blonde hair, blue eyes, tall, strong, good in every way. He's what I think America wants their visage to be. But Falcon, as a character, Sam Wilson, he can't represent that perfection in their eyes. Because of the unfortunate shame that they put on the African American community from day one. It just doesn't work, and in a lot of ways it doesn't work. And his narrative is about trying to convince himself that he can make that work. He can say that this is where America is now, the evolution of America, and he can proudly represent that. So I don't know. I guess we have to stand back and wait and see how it goes. There's only one episode left, and I'm hoping it ends pretty well. So far, I'm blown back by it's just the political value in that show. There's so much to get from it, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't as excited for that as I was for WandaVision. Not at all. Not even close. I thought WandaVision looked impressive, but going into this show, I mean, maybe I was being unfair because Wanda, I think I was going to base my impression of the show on the quality of the powers of the characters, and that's not fair. Because WandaVision's a show about family, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a show about America. It's about what does it mean to be an American today. Not a classic American as Steven Rogers' character represented, but today's American. Which again is hard for me because I'm Canadian, so like our culture, our values are far different than what you'd even expect. But I mean, I'm definitely picking up what they're putting down, and it's impressing me. But I mean, I did WandaVision. I enjoyed WandaVision. It's a show about family, and family is important to me as well. And I got what they were saying. I mean, especially given that I was a child in the 90s, so like sitcoms were everything. I mean, I was a nerd in the 90s. I was a geek in the 90s. And being a geek in the 90s, not like being a geek today, it was, you could only really pick one hobby, and my hobby that I picked was, TV and movies. That is what I dove deep into. And so I really, really loved the representation of every generation. They did a fantastic job of that. Honestly, they did a good job of everything. Sorry, I think I might have locked out for a second, but see, sorry about this. Okay, no, we're good. Yeah, so what was it that I was having an issue with? In terms of WandaVision. It was the without giving too much away, it was the big reveal, the big whodunit in the end, and quite frankly, I just wasn't impressed by that, and I think that that's because as a fan, there wasn't much of a reveal. It was like it was but maybe that's. I think that they lost in that moment. The producers, they'd lost touch of an ideal with their fans, where they from the very beginning, Marvel set stuff up so when you're watching the movie with somebody who doesn't know the history, who is unaware of these characters going in, when you're the whole movie, you're like, let's talk about let's go back a little further. So number one, Obadiah Stane. I'm watching Iron Man with my girlfriend at the time, and Obadiah Stane is introduced. Very beginning of the movie. I'm shaking because I know where this is going, and I am stoked. I'm like, this is the Ironmonger, and just he was such a snake. And but throughout the movie, it's unevident. I think you know he's gonna be the bad guy, but it's unevident what a snake he is and how much he's slithering around, especially to a newcomer to the franchise, and just knowing the things that he's saying and doing and how conniving he is, while somebody else who you're watching it with doesn't. That was the satisfaction that fans used to get from these movies, and I think that was what they tried to. That's what they're still trying to do. They're still trying to nab fans with that same thought that they're gonna be super stoked by a simple, they're just gonna be happy knowing that they knew what was gonna happen. But they're not. At times past, now fans they want to be shocked as well. And that's where they dropped the ball. Not necessarily dropped the ball, but that is where they. I think that's why they couldn't nab the same satisfaction from fans, and where Captain America, or not Captain America, sorry, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where that sets itself apart and makes itself slightly better, is that it evolved. I mean, the Captain America movies, they've always been very good at giving a nice political narrative and something to feel good about, something to learn from, and to something to have us question our worlds and our ideals, and that's the tradition that's the tradition that Falcon and the Winter Soldier carries on, but they've evolved, they've expanded on that as well, and I find that very satisfying. And they did that by recognizing that America, as Steve Rogers represented it, is non-existent. It's gone. And the ideals that Steve Walker represents as Captain America are jaded. That represents not the people, but the government. And Anthony Mackie has his own America to represent, and that is modern day America. And we need to see if he is going to do that and how he does that. And that is why I've decided to commend Anthony Mackie on his decision to embrace that and take on that mantle put in place by Chadwick Boseman to represent his race in Marvel movies, in the Marvel universe. Very commendable. I really hope that they don't I hope that when they change him, they give him a movie, they give him the proper position to represent. I know that Black Panther's continuing, but I mean, it's got to be more than that, right? And I think as a Captain America, he's got something special to tell because of that. I think that's where it's going to go. But so that's what I have to say about that. Let's see where we're at in this castle. I guess you guys saw what I was doing. We're going to go down here and start building up this pink. There we go. All right, we're going to build this up. Okay, was there anything else I was discussing earlier? I don't think there was, but I was. I mean, I'm in movie mode right now, so I was going to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, oh my. And I know people are going to say, no, that was not a good movie. And yes, you're right. That was not a good movie. Not in the sense of, it was not, you're not going to that movie to feel, I felt feels because I feel for everything and I feel for Kong. But it's not, it's not going to win an award. Holy moly, no, it's not. But what it does right is, for the very first time, and I love Legendary's take on these characters, but for the very first time, I feel like they nabbed not only the characters and what the characters represent, but they nabbed what it is to what a Toho movie is, like the structure of a Toho movie, a Toho kaiju film. And they did that by recognizing that it's about the monsters. They thought they knew that with King of the Monsters, and King of the Monsters was incredible because it showed so many fantastic titans, or kaiju as I prefer to call them. But they showed so many good ones. But what they did is by doing that, they missed what the structure, what it is that people expect from a kaiju film, and what that is an obvious divide. You want to know who the contenders are from the very beginning. I mean, not necessarily from the very beginning, but you need to know who the primary contenders are at some point before the final clash, and you don't want to have too many other contenders involved in the film, and that's how Toho does it. And they because the finale the finale is meant to be a clash between these two. King of the Monsters, like they thought that we wanted to see more monsters. We want to see these monsters represented properly. Like and that's exactly where Godzilla vs. Kong got it right. They were like, these are the players. Kong is our player. He's the one we're going to worry about. He's the one with feelings. He's big. He's essentially the big giant human. And so that's one contender. That's the one we're going to follow. That's the one we're going to feel for and worry about. And then there's the second contender, primary contender, who it's like, this is like the secondary is obviously Godzilla, so who was given like a kind of a backseat to the primary narrative.